Stage 2. Dennis went out to make up the time conceded on Stage 1, and with this test a faster affair they could make up time. But the engine was overheating, forcing them to drive cautiously once again, and frustrating as it was, they moved up to 5th. James Gillen and Victor Crullers were pushing hard, aiming to move up from 3rd. The Esker Cosworth pounced on Dennis, taking advantage of the 6R4's problems to be fastest so far. And with James charging, Gary had to match it. The rally leaders took into Stage 2 as they did Stage 1, defending their lead. James had set the target, his time was on the left. We compared Gary through the stage, but on this next jump, disaster struck. Heading the jump flat out, the car drifts wide onto the grass. Gary pulls it back, but they cross the road, hitting a brick wall, rebound off a tree, demolishing a concrete gate post, an iron gate, and consequently, the car. Eugene Donnelly is next on the scene. The Esker Cosworth is on fire, and pulling over to the side of the stage, he assists to fight the blaze, stopping the following crews for further assistance. Glenn Allen and John Gallagher were among the next cars into the stage. Pushing hard to close in the top 3, they were unaware of what lay ahead and would be forced to stop at Gary's accident. Group N leaders Richard Hogg and Mark Hanna were upping the pace, but their charge would also be halted, receiving the time set by Dennis but retained the Group N lead. George Robinson and Tommy Spears maintained the difference between them and Dennis on the second stage as they move up to place 6th overall. Raymond Mason will be the first car to resume on the stage, and with George Robinson receiving Dennis's time, the Impreza drops behind the Ford by 0.2 of a second, now 7th. Gary Cairns and Gary Monteith made up places on the rally leaderboard in Stage 2. Their Evo 6 would stay behind Raymond Mason, now 8th overall, 3rd in Group N. After the hold-up, Kevin Lynch and Martin McNichol fought to further their advantage over Gary, but dropping behind in Stage 2, they are now 1/10 of a second adrift. Brian Muldoon and Charlie Beater were on song in Stage 2. Their Mark II closed on Kevin Lynch, taking a second, now rounding off the overall top 10 after 2 stages. The rally leaderboard is a little different now. James Gillen takes the lead, with Eugene in 2nd place and Glenn Allen moving into 3rd. Stage 2 would trouble many crews. Andy McGee and Andy Hamilton were among the few to benefit from the stage. Their Mark II made up time over the 8 miles of Ross Hill, scaling the rally leaderboard to 12th overall, and stay close on Brian Muldoon, now 2nd in Class 7. Now 1 place behind on the rally leaderboard was Patrick Bonner, upping the pace on the second stage. The yellow Mark II ascended the ranks to now lie 13th and maintain the Class 6 lead. 1.7 seconds back, Rodney McKnight furthered the Class 5 lead on Stage 2. He and Owen McErlane are now in front by 22 seconds. Colin Britton and Kenny Hull would have it all their own way in the opening stages, as the Micro now holds a commanding 2-minute lead in Class 3. Also in a commanding position, Francis Ray and Joe McNulty stretched the Class 1 lead to half a minute after Stage 2. And in Class 4, it was Harry McAllister who continued to set the pace. The Sunbeam was fastest once again, furthering the advantage now to 14 seconds. So after 2 stages, James Gillen leads the rally by 9.6 seconds from Eugene Donnelly. Glenn Allen is now 3rd, Richard Hogg 4th, and we'll be back after the break.
We're right, well done.
The List 2 stage will be cancelled as the 3rd test, with the action resuming on Stage 4. With the delay of the 3rd stage cancellation, there was a hold-up on the start line of Stage 4. On cold tyres, Dennis began the test into the gravel-coated square right, and with the Metro's grunt taking the lead, it would pirouette the car and cost them time. But they carry on into the test and would await the following runners to gauge the time they had lost on the stage. James Gillen will be next on the road, but as we see from on board with Eugene, the Esker Cosworth lost control over the fast jump, going off the road, rolling heavily and destroying the car. The stage will be cancelled, but Eugene is once again first on the scene, and after his accident yesterday, it will be a blunt reminder as he and Paddy Toner search for assistance. James and Victor will be rushed to hospital but will be later released with reports of no major injuries. Eugene takes the lead from Glenn Allen on the leaderboard, with Richard Hogg now 3rd, with Dennis 4th and George Robinson in 5th. We now catch up with the crews in service at Nacarn Equestrian Centre in Irvinstown.
Well, we're not doing so good, but we're still here. First stage, we ran out of intercom, the battery was gone in. Second stage, we overheated halfway through it, so we just drove through the stage basically. And the third stage we spun, we made a silly mistake right at the very first corner. We're sitting for about an hour and a half out in cold tires, gravel, belly full of revs, and done a full 360.
It's just I haven't had that car for a good wee while, you know, and then the new Navigator as well. So, you know, really what we wanted to do was have a good steady run and keep it all together for the whole day, you know. So there's been a couple of bad accidents, which is not sort of making the thing that good at the minute.
Following service in the Cairn, the crews head back north to Drumquin for the final loop of stages, a repeat of the first 4. With Dudgeon Bridge opening proceedings once again, Eugene would set off into the stage, taking it by the scruff of the neck, setting fastest over the 7.5 miles by almost 30 seconds ahead of anyone else, to successfully defend their lead, now out in front by 36 seconds, with 3 stages remaining. With Glenall now in second place, the Escort WRC was staying on course, now showing the form which netted consecutive top 3 places towards the end of last year. Staying on form, Richard Hogg was mixing it among the Group A cars as the Evo 6 scaled the ranks into the top 3. This event was not favouring Dennis. The cancellation of the last 2 stages had left the 6R4 still sore from the time lost in stage 1, but taking back a second in stage 5, they're up to 4th. Pulling a rabbit out of the hat in the 5th test, George Robinson and Tommy Spears were back in form, second fastest to Eugene, to move up to 5th. Little would separate George from Raymond Mason after 2 stages, but with the action resuming in stage 5, they concede to the Ford, now 6th and 2nd in Group N. Brian Muldoon and Charlie Beattie had the right combination between them in stage 5, taking a 1/10 of a second from Dennis, harassing the top 6, now a close 7th overall. 8th in Dudgeon Bridge, Brendan Creeley continued to further his tarmac experience for this campaign this year in Britain. He and Roy Campbell will be 6 seconds shy of Brian going into stage 6. And ahead of Brian Muldoon going into stage 5, Gary Cairns would hit trouble on the second pass over Dudgeon Bridge, dropping back to 9th. Not applying the pressure with the 2 Andys, Andy McGee and Andy Hamilton continued to harass Gary Cairns, and with a Mitsubishi in trouble over the 5th stage, the Mark II would pounce, now closing the gap to less than half a second. Kevin Lynch was hot in the heels of Andy McGee. The KPL Subaru would have a flustered stage 5, with a rear right puncture costing them bagfuls of time, and are now 11th overall. So as we look at the leaderboard after 5 stages, Eugene Donnelly is out in front from Glen Allen. Richard Hogg is now 3rd, Dennis is 4th, with George Robinson rounding off the top 5.